I woke up that Wednesday morning to an empty bed. Sarah was not beside me. I checked the bathroom, the kitchen, nothing. When I opened our closet, her navy blue travel bag was gone. So were some of her clothes. I called her phone. It rang, but nobody picked up. I texted, "Where are you? Is everything okay?" No reply. Emma woke up at 7 a.m. and asked, "Where is Mommy?" Her eyes were so innocent, so trusting. I forced a smile and said, "Mommy had to go help Grandma for a few days, sweetheart." But one day passed. Then two. Then three. No calls. No messages. Nothing. That is when I knew something was completely wrong. Before we go any further, I would love to know where you are watching from. Drop your city or country in the comments below. If this story resonates with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. What I discovered in the following days shattered everything I thought I knew about our marriage. Stay with me on this. That first day I tried to stay calm. I made pancakes for Emma, her favorite. I got her dressed for preschool and dropped her off like nothing was wrong. But inside my mind was racing. Where could Sarah be? Why would she just leave without a word? We had been married for 6 years. 6 years of building a life together, raising Emma, supporting each other through everything. Sure, we had our arguments like any couple, but nothing that would make her vanish like this. I kept telling myself there had to be a reasonable explanation. Maybe she needed some space. Maybe she went to visit a friend and her phone died. Maybe I was overreacting. But as the hours ticked by and my calls continued to go unanswered, that small voice of doubt grew louder. Looking back now, I realized there had been signs. Small things I had brushed off. About 2 weeks earlier, Sarah started staying up late at night. I would wake up at midnight or 1 a.m. and find her sitting at the kitchen table with her laptop open, the blue light casting shadows across her face. When I asked what she was working on, she said it was a new interior design project for a client. Sarah worked as a freelance interior designer, so late-night work was not unusual. I believed her. She also started taking phone calls and walking outside to talk. I remember one evening her phone rang during dinner. She glanced at the screen, her expression tightening for just a second, then excused herself and went out to the backyard. I could see her through the window, pacing back and forth, one hand pressed to her forehead. When she came back in, I asked if everything was okay. She smiled and said it was just a difficult client. I did not push. There was another moment that stuck with me. I came home from work one afternoon and found Sarah standing in our living room holding our wedding photo. She was staring at it with this distant look in her eyes, like she was somewhere else entirely. When I asked what she was thinking about, she quickly put the photo down and said nothing, just reminiscing. Then she changed the subject. I also noticed she had been turning down our usual date nights. Every weekend we tried to go out to dinner, just the two of us, while my mom watched Emma. But for the past month, Sarah kept saying she was too tired. She would rather stay home and watch a movie. I thought maybe she was just stressed about work. I never imagined there was something deeper going on. Now, sitting alone in our house with Emma at preschool, all those little moments came flooding back. I felt like an idiot for not seeing it sooner. What had I missed? What was Sarah going through that she could not talk to me about? By the second day, my worry had turned into something sharper. I called in sick to work. I worked as a claims adjuster at an insurance company, and while my boss was not thrilled, I told him it was a family emergency. I needed to focus on finding Sarah and taking care of Emma. I called Sarah's mom, Patricia. She lived about an hour away and had always been close to Sarah. If anyone would know where she was, it would be Patricia. "Broderick," Patricia's voice was warm when she answered. "Is everything all right? Have you heard from Sarah?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. There was a pause. "No, why? Is something wrong?" I explained the situation. Sarah had left 3 days ago without a word. No calls, no texts, nothing. Patricia's concern was immediate. "That does not sound like her at all," she said. "Let me try calling her. Maybe she will pick up for me." But she did not. Patricia called me back 20 minutes later, her voice tight with worry. "She is not answering." "Broderick, what is going on?" "I do not know," I admitted. "But I am going to find out." Next, I called Sarah's two closest friends, Jessica and Allison. Jessica had been Sarah's college roommate, and Allison was a fellow interior designer she had worked with for years. Neither of them had heard from her. She did mention she was feeling overwhelmed lately, Jessica said carefully, but I did not think she would just leave. Have you checked with her family? Already did? Nobody knows anything. After I hung up, I sat at the kitchen table and opened our joint bank account on my laptop. My hands were shaking as I scrolled through the recent transactions. And there it was. 3 days before Sarah disappeared, she had withdrawn $2,000 in cash from an ATM. $2,000. My stomach dropped. This was not some spur-of-the-moment decision. She had planned this. That night, Emma cried for her mother. I sat on the edge of her bed, stroking her hair, trying to comfort her. "Mommy will be back soon, sweetheart," I whispered, even though I had no idea if that was true. I sang her the lullaby Sarah always sang, "You Are My Sunshine," and my voice cracked halfway through. After Emma finally fell asleep, I lay alone in our bed, staring at the ceiling. The hurt was starting to settle in, mixing with the fear and anger. How could Sarah do this to us, to Emma, to me? Whatever she was going through, we were supposed to face it together. That was what marriage meant. By the third day, I was furious. I called Sarah's phone over and over. I sent her long text messages. "Sarah, whatever's going on, we can talk about it. Emma is asking for you. Please just let me know you are safe." Nothing. Radio silence. I thought about calling the police, but I knew they would not do anything yet. Adults had the right to leave. Unless there was evidence of foul play, they would tell me to wait 48 hours, and even then there was no guarantee they would prioritize it. That evening, Marcus came over. Marcus had been my best friend since college. He took one look at me and said, "You look like hell, man." "I feel like it," I said. He stayed with me while Emma played in her room. I told him everything, the disappearance, the money, the unanswered calls. Marcus listened, his expression growing more serious with each detail. "Maybe she is dealing with something she is not ready to tell you," he finally said. "Give her time, but also protect yourself, man. Make sure you and Emma are okay." "We have been married for 6 years," I said, my voice rising. 6 years, Marcus. How could she just walk away without a word? Marcus did not have an answer for that. Nobody did. On the 4th day, I decided I was done waiting. I needed answers, and if Sarah was not going to give them to me, I would find them myself. I started searching the house. I went through Sarah's desk drawers, her files, anything that might give me a clue about where she had gone or what she was thinking. Most of it was work-related. Sketches, fabric samples, client contracts. But then I found something. Tucked in the back of a drawer was a printed piece of paper with an address on it. 312 Maple Street, Riverside. I stared at it. Riverside was a city about 3 hours away. I had never heard Sarah mention anyone there. Why would she have this address? I pulled out my phone and searched for it. It was an apartment building. Nothing fancy, just a regular residential complex. I felt my pulse quicken. Was this where Sarah was? I kept digging and found an ATM receipt from 2 weeks ago. The location, Riverside. Sarah had withdrawn money there. I remembered that day. She told me she was meeting a client in the next town over. She had lied. The doubt that had been gnawing at me turned into something colder. Was Sarah having an affair? Was that what this was about? The thought made me sick, but I could not ignore it. Everything pointed to her hiding something big. I called Marcus and asked if he could watch Emma overnight. I needed to drive to Riverside and find out what was going on. "Are you sure that is a good idea?" he asked. "I need to know," I said. He agreed. That evening I packed a small bag and kissed Emma goodnight. "Daddy has to go on a quick trip," I told her. "But Uncle Marcus is going to stay with you, and I will be back tomorrow." "Are you going to find Mommy?" she asked, her big eyes hopeful. "I am going to try, sweetheart." The drive to Riverside was long and dark. It was 8 p.m. when I left, and the highway stretched out before me like an endless black ribbon. My mind would not stop racing. What would I find when I got there? Would Sarah even be there? And if she was, what would I say to her? I thought about our wedding day. Sarah had looked so beautiful in her dress, her smile radiant as she walked down the aisle toward me. I remembered the way she laughed during our vows when I stumbled over my words. I remembered our honeymoon in Hawaii, lying on the beach together, talking about all the dreams we had for our future. And then I thought about Emma. The day she was born, Sarah had cried tears of joy. She held our daughter in her arms and whispered, "We made this. We made something perfect." How could the woman who said those words just walk away from us? By the time I reached Riverside, it was 11 p.m. I found the apartment building on Maple Street and parked across the street. My heart was pounding. The building was 3 stories tall, plain brick with small balconies. I could see lights on in a few of the windows. I sat in my car for a few minutes, trying to gather my courage. What was I doing here? What if I was wrong? What if this had nothing to do with Sarah, but I had come this far? I had to know. I got out of the car and walked up to the building. The front door was unlocked. I stepped inside and checked the directory. Apartment 3B. I climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor, my footsteps echoing in the quiet hallway. When I reached apartment 3B, I stopped. My hand hovered over the door. This was it. Whatever was on the other side of this door would change everything. I knocked. No answer. I knocked again, harder this time. Finally, I heard footsteps. The door opened and I found myself face to face with an older woman. She looked to be in her mid-60s, with gray hair pulled back in a bun and kind eyes. She was not Sarah. "Can I help you?" she asked. "I'm looking for my wife," I said, my voice shaking. "Sarah, I think she might be here." The woman's expression shifted. Recognition flickered across her face. "You must be Broderick," she said softly. "Please come in." I stepped inside, my mind reeling. How did this woman know my name? The apartment was small but cozy. And then I saw her. Sarah was sitting on the couch, a blanket wrapped around her shoulders. Her eyes were red and swollen like she had been crying. When she saw me, her face went pale. "Broderick," she whispered. How did I find you?" I said, my voice louder than I intended. "Sarah, what the hell is going on?" The older woman quietly excused herself and disappeared into another room, leaving Sarah and me alone. Sarah stood up, the blanket falling from her shoulders. She looked smaller than I remembered, fragile. "Broderick, I can explain," she started, but I cut her off. "You can explain," I said, my anger finally breaking free. "You left. You packed a bag and disappeared without a word. Do you have any idea what the last 4 days have been like? Emma has been crying for you. I have been losing my mind, trying to figure out if you were dead or alive. And now I find you here in some apartment 3 hours away with a stranger. So yes, Sarah, please explain." She sank back down onto the couch, tears streaming down her face. "I am so sorry," she said. "I did not know how to tell you. I did not know what to do. Tell me what I demanded." Sarah took a shaky breath. "That woman," she said, gesturing toward the room where the older woman had gone. "Her name is Dorothy. She is my mother." I stared at her. "What? But Patricia." "Patricia is my adoptive mother," Sarah said quietly. "She raised me from the time I was 3 years old. Dorothy is my biological mother. She gave me up when I was little because she was struggling with addiction. She could not take care of me." My mind was spinning.